We're going to go to an email question from a viewer in Durham. The viewer asks, I have a humanities background, but I'm interested in career opportunities in the renewables industry. I'm interested in continuing my education to pursue this goal. What positions might well suit my existing skills, and what training or education might make me an attractive candidate in this field?
Yeah, I think the first place I'd look is, given a humanities background, I won't suggest the engineering and design capabilities, but there's a lot of work that goes on in developing a solar project and working with the customers of those solar projects that doesn't necessarily require a technical background, but someone who's good at interacting and relating with people. It is helpful to understand and necessary to understand the technology so that as you're trying to answer questions from customers, particularly commercial customers, that you can be informative. And so the case would be to get familiar with it. The local community colleges, many of them have solar programs. If you're in Durham, actually Durham Tech has a very good program. A colleague of mine actually teaches it, and so I'll endorse that program. But it provides a good introduction to that. And one way to sort of to demonstrate that, there's a number of certifications that are available in the industry. The one for solar that really has the most credence is one that's called NABCEP, the North American Board of Certified Energy Professionals. And by taking the course at, say, at Durham Tech or Alamance Community College, Central Community College, or have programs and others around the state, and then sitting for the exam, you can demonstrate that you have a knowledge of that. There's also a NABCEP sales certification as well if you want to particularly interact with individuals. The whole area of residential sales of solar is one that is a huge opportunity. It's an area where there's a lot of interest, but a lot of homeowners don't know what it is. They say, boy, I want to do that, but they don't know how to go about doing it, helping them understand the options, both from a technology standpoint, but in terms of what would it look like on my home, how do I deal with the tax credits? I mean, there are a lot of issues around it that require a fair bit of education of the consumer. And so someone who likes to work with people would be ideal in a job like that.
And I would just point out, we now have about a dozen of our community colleges that offer associate degrees in sustainable technology, and many more of our community colleges which offer courses in heating, in drafting, in a number of different areas that relate specifically to the green economy in this sector. So going back to school, and whether you pursue an associate's degree or you just take some courses to get up to speed and further along on the knowledge curve, can be very helpful to someone in that position.
It really sounds like the community college system is an integral piece to this puzzle in training and getting workers ready for the workforce. What type of programs do community colleges offer, and are those programs are those programs expanding? Are there more programs on the horizon? So talk a little bit about the value of our community college system here.
Well, I'll speak from the benefit that Strata Solar receives. As I mentioned earlier, when we go into a community and are looking to develop a workforce, they are our first point of reference and training specifically to particular jobs. That training typically comes out of programs that are designed for specific jobs. It's not a normal curricula or course of study, but it's specific to the jobs that we have to offer. And so we go in and actually help tailor that to the work that we're doing. At the same time, there are a number, I mentioned some, Larry indicated a number, who have program curricula that is much more general in nature. And those are growing. I'll defer to Larry because I don't know the statistics on the numbers of community colleges that do that.
Yeah, as I mentioned, over a dozen now that have a sustainable technology degree. But within that, you see many more course offerings on solar energy installation, both solar hot water and solar electricity. We've got some programs in the area of biofuels, which train people how to produce biofuels and the processes involved in production and being part of a production facility. We have just courses in a number of different areas and incorporation of a lot of these principles into existing courses like electricity, heating and ventilation and air conditioning design, that type of thing. So we're seeing just greater course offerings and more incorporation within existing curriculum.
And let me offer another avenue for people to consider, and that is one of an internship or entry-level position. we tend to bring on a lot of folks that way into the organization. In fact, this summer we have 6 interns. We're fortunate that the State Energy Office is running a program right now where they provide funding for those interns. And it's a way to provide an introduction into the industry. We often think of interns being individuals who are young and early in their careers, but we have one intern who's a gentleman who has a 20-plus year experience in manufacturing. Those jobs aren't so good right now, and so he actually went back, took some courses at the community college, and then is now spending the summer with us, helping us develop some of our product line. And as an example of someone making a transition. But to look at any number of the companies, we also bring in folks and we say, okay, if you want to come in, if you want to work in sales, for example, if you want to work in the development area, let's spend 2, 4, 6 weeks out on the job. We'll actually put them on a roof, put them on the job site, have them installed so they understand what it is, and then transition into a job they may be interested in.
John is referencing something called the Student Energy Internship and Fellowship Program, and I've got to tell you, it's been one of the most exciting programs that I've been involved in. Before everything's said and done, over 500 interns and fellows would have been placed in businesses, in local governments, and nonprofit organizations around the state in 28 different programs. And what we're doing is creating a workforce, if you will, of trained people that are out there with on-the-job experience behind them in addition to whatever schooling they've received. So it's just going to help bolster our economy. And what we're starting to see as the program develops is more and more of them be hired in permanent positions by the firms or the government or whatever they're working for. That's real exciting.